I am the time capturer, but you know that. What you don't know is why I chose that title. So over the next several hours, I'm going to talk about my life from 1979 to the present. And if you stick around, you will learn how I got that title, how I got started in photography, how my photography turned into videography, how I believe I got sick, why I'm driving a mobility scooter, and ultimately, why I'm done with YouTube. The year was 1979. I was 11 years old. It was pretty crazy winter, really cold. And a lot of ice built up in the river. I don't remember if it was a fast melt or if we got rain. Something happened. It raised the water level up, but the ice in the river was so thick, it just it jammed everything up. And caused flooding. In our town, that's in my lifetime, I think that's the only time I saw flooding in our town. I don't think I've seen it or heard of it since, but it was crazy. It was quite an event, and I bought a cheap camera from the corner store. I think I paid like $1.99 for it or something, and a roll of film. And it took the 110 cartridges, which is like the little spool on each side that's connected like a little pair of binoculars, and got a whole bunch of pictures of it. Get them developed, and none of them turned out. So in this video, I'm going to explain why I am the time capturer and how I came to be what I am today. In 1979 wasn't a good year for me, as many of you know. A lot of issues for me that year. And before that, Tigger was a nature nut. He loved nature, he loved being in natural areas. That's where I got it from. He got me into nature. And in 1979, after losing him, the following Christmas, I got my first real camera. My dad bought it for me. I kind of feel like I got extra attention. I think I needed that extra attention. But I think my dad bought me that camera to kind of help pull me out of the shell that I was in. And it was a pretty good camera. for that time, it was. I'm not sure how much it would have cost, but it was a fairly decent camera for that time, and I still have it to this day. I don't know why. I did try to sell it on eBay once a few years ago, but a lot of views, but nobody was interested. I don't remember exactly what it was called. It was an Opticam, I believe EE something. I don't remember exactly, but it was nice. Took 35mm film cartridges, and it was 100% manual and nothing automatic, no batteries, nothing. 100% manual. It had a viewfinder on the top that you look through. It's got rectangle on it, so everything inside that rectangle will be in the picture. That's the only guide you have. You can't see through the lens on it at all. Fixed lens. And basically on the outer rim of the lens, it's got demarcations on it for different distances. So if I'm taking a picture of something that's like 20 feet away, I set the ring at 20 feet and it should be in focus. I had f-stops, and I think there was some other setting on the lens itself, I don't remember which. Full manual. Turn the dial to get to what you want. And it came with a flash. And on the back of the flash, it had printing on it. It had all the different exposure settings for different things that you want to. Yeah, it was pretty good. It was a very, very nice beginner camera. So I taught myself how to take pictures, basically, and like the technical stuff, anyways. You either have an eye for photography or you don't. You can go to school to learn techniques and learn how the settings go together, but you can't teach how to frame a subject. Well, let me try that again. You can teach how to frame a subject, different ways of capturing, but you can't teach the eye to just recognize what a good picture would be, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And some people just have it naturally. Some people don't. When they look at their pictures, it's obvious which is which. I guess if you take enough pictures, you get lucky and get a good one now and then. But you've either got it or you don't. It's either something that you're going to be good at, or something that's it's just going to be like a hobby or whatever. So that camera opened me up to a whole new world, and I didn't go out much as it was, but I still went out to the nature areas, and that kind of became my subject. The natural great outdoors was my studio. I take pictures of bugs and plants. I would say probably the majority of the pictures that I took with that camera were of my cat indoors, but outdoors was always, that was my studio. So I didn't take pictures of people much because, like I say, I wasn't around people a lot. I got pictures of my dad in the garden. That's about it as far as people go. But that was how it began. That's how my interest in photography began. And I had a sister. My oldest sister was heavily into photography. She was really good. She was really great with people, photographing people and that. Yeah, to this day I'm still not all that great. But it's as far as somebody posing for a shot. No, that's not me. My specialty is catching people just doing what they're doing. ignore the camera, pretend I'm not here. That's where I excel. And I got surprised myself that I was actually good at that, but for the longest time I never took pictures of people. It was almost always nature, landscape scenes, stuff like that. So that's how everything began. And years later, 1987, I believe it was, I bought a new camera. I bought a Canon T70, T50, T70 I think it was. That was a good camera. It had interchangeable lenses, but I only had one lens with it, a 50 millimeter lens. I bought as a package deal, or bundle I think they would call it. And it was all automatic. It took batteries. It had different exposure settings. Take a picture, it automatically winds the film to the next shot or next frame, and once the film is finished it automatically rewinds it, which is kind of cool. My first camera, everything, once I take the last picture, this little crank arm that you lift up, you had to wind the film back into the spool. Like I said, 100% manual. But this Canon camera is pretty nice, and it took some pretty nice shots. And that was the first camera, well, it was only my second camera, but the first one where I could actually see through the lens. I could see what I was looking at, see what the picture was going to be, and I could see if it's focused or not. So it had manual focus, it had automatic focus. It was kind of cool. So again, I never really did anything major with it. I just kind of carried on doing what I was doing. I just wanted something a little better than what I had. And I had the money at the time, so I figured now's the time to do it. And I remember exactly where I bought it. It was a little store in Lime Ridge Mall in Hamilton called Astral Photo. I don't remember how much I paid for it. Don't remember. I can't even guess close. I don't have a clue how much I paid for it. I don't remember. But I had it for a while. And then in the early 90s, when my back issues were pretty much at their peak, and I was on welfare at the time, and I had borrowed some money from a friend, and unfortunately I got into that situation where I couldn't pay it back. I don't remember how much it was I borrowed, but I wasn't able to pay it back. So he suggested to me that I give him my camera to settle the debt, because his brother was looking for a camera and he was going to sell the camera to his brother. So at the time, my friendship meant more than the camera did. I wasn't using it a lot at that time anyways, but at that time my friendship meant more. And I never really saw him again after that. Kind of ironic, right? But no, I didn't owe him anything, so I didn't feel bad. Now, knowing him, he's the kind of person that he probably sold it to his brother for twice the price. He's just that kind of person. But so be it. I gave it to him to settle my debt. What he does with it after that is completely up to him. So I was without a camera for a long time, many years, and I missed it, but I didn't feel the need to get another camera. So I kind of, a lot of things I missed out on that it would have been nice to have a camera at that time, but again, so be it. So in 2000, year 2000, very late, 1999 maybe, my friends moved up to this area, and I helped them move along with another friend, and it was a beautiful place. This little farmhouse up on a hill in Cargill, outside of Cargill, and it was stunning. Like, this place, if you stand outside at night, it is so quiet that your ears ring. It's dead silent. There's no noise out there whatsoever. And aside from the farm across the road, the nearest house was about a quarter mile down the road, and you can actually hear them talking, and like talking to each other as they're standing in their driveway. That's how quiet it was. And I mean, like, talking with a normal voice, right? It was crazy, insane. It was so quiet, just beautiful. But when they were moving, or when I was helping them move, she said to me, she says, if you wanna, move up here with us, let us know. And I said, which room's mine? So that's how I come up to this area. That's how I got out of this city. I hated this city so much. So I moved up here, and I didn't last long. I didn't live with them for very long. I think about 6 months. And I got a place in Chesley, back of one of the stores downtown, and my backyard was a parking lot. I had the back door, and there was kind of like an addition put on the side. Storage room, I guess. So I had 2 doors, 90-degree angle like this, and a 4-foot concrete pad. That was my yard. that was my yard, and it was perfect timing, because that next winter, the winter of 2000-2001, we got the most snow I ever seen in my entire life, and I didn't have to deal with cleaning it up. I know I've told this story before, but somewhere near the beginning of November it started snowing, and we got snow every day until Christmas. And it wasn't always a lot of snow. Sometimes we'd get a snowstorm, sometimes it was snow squalls, other days it's just light flurries, but every day we got something until Christmas. So more than a month of constant snow. It was insane. 6 feet of snow. Absolutely crazy. I am so glad I didn't live somewhere I needed to deal with all that. Like I say, all I had was my 4x4 concrete pad to clear off. And the town, I'm not sure if the town or the owner of the building, whatever, they took care of the parking lot. So that was crazy. That was absolutely insane. That would have been a nice time to have a camera at that time. But the problem is, I had 2 cats. And they didn't allow cats there. I knew that. And I was going to give them away, but I was going to give them to somebody that I could either visit when I wanted, or get the cats back if I moved out. And it was really difficult to find that kind of situation. And after a while, the more I tried, the more I realized I can't give up my cats. So I kept them, and at some point, the landlord told me I had to get rid of the cats because people are complaining about the smell. What smell? I couldn't smell anything. I had the litter box in the washroom, and the only thing I could think of is when he went, when they use a litter box, you immediately get the smell. Maybe that's what they're smelling, that intermittent, only when he uses it type thing. But it just got to the point where the landlord said, somebody was still complaining. And he said, he was really apologetic about it. He really didn't want to say it, but he said, either get rid of the cats or I'm going to have to kick you out. that really sucked. So I didn't know what I was going to do. I was working minimum wage. I was, by myself. And not a lot available for that, kind of situation. So at this point, the friends I moved up here with, they had moved to another place. They're another farmhouse at the top of the hill in Walkerton, and it had all this open space. And I was talking to somebody that I was working with at the time, and she told me she had a trailer that I could buy if I wanted it. So I talked to my friend and asked him if it was okay if I parked a trailer on their property and lived in the trailer and just paid rent, to them. So that's what we agreed to do. So I got this trailer, parked it there, and while I was moving, I discovered where the smell was coming from. I had a sleeping bag in my closet in my bedroom, and for whatever reason, the cat was peeing on it. I had no idea. I couldn't smell it. Because it would soak through to the floor, and it would drip down into the basement, and then the smell would travel throughout the building, everywhere except for my own apartment. So, so I guess apparently the complaining was legitimate. So I moved into the trailer. I was there for a little while, and one of the guys I was working with, he bought this little digital camera. It cost $40. It was basically a keychain camera, just a tiny little thing. Digital camera. I've never had a digital camera, so this is my first digital camera. I like the pictures he was getting. Nothing major, like they're not high quality or anything, right? But they're still digital. So I decided to get one. It's been a while, right? And that winter, we got really, really, really cold temperatures. And we had an ice fog one night. Everything was completely covered in a thick layer of frost, I guess you could say. Little spiky ice. It looked wild. I got a few pictures of that with that little camera. And it turned out alright. Like I said, it was like a 0.2 megapixel camera or something like that. But some of the pictures it took actually weren't too bad. So I used that for a little while. And this camera, it didn't take a memory card or anything. It stored the pictures itself. I think its capacity was 2 megabytes or 6 megabytes, something like that, which tells you, the quality of the pictures. Because most of the pictures I take now, they're they're a lot higher than that one picture. Right? So one picture or maximum capacity of the camera is lower than one picture today. That's a very low quality picture. But like I say, some of them were actually pretty nice. Turned out pretty good. The problem was, to get the pictures off the camera, you plug it into your computer, and then you download them from there. And at some point, that feature stopped working. As soon as I plugged the camera into the computer, it would erase all the pictures. So I said, okay, time for a better camera. So I bought a new camera, another digital. I've never had another film camera since way back when. Every camera I've had since then has been digital. So, but I got this one. It was a Concord IQ 3040, I think, 3040. It was nice. I paid, I think, $150, $250. I don't remember which. It cost a little more. It was a pretty nice camera. Now, it also had built-in memory, 8 megabytes. I remember that, 8 megabytes. But it would also hold a card that you could store it. So it had its own internal memory, and you could put memory cards in it. Flock of geese. I like that sound because that's an autumn sound. Migrating geese. These guys are just flying around. Excuse me while I enjoy this. So apparently they're not going to fly over, they just kind of circled around and went back to where they came from. There's a lot of geese around right now just kind of hanging out doing nothing. I think they're just kind of resting up before they migrate. Not all of them will migrate. As long as there's open water though, some of them will stick around. But those guys are just kind of flying around. Maybe building up their muscles for the trip, I don't know. And there goes one all by himself. I wonder if that's the outcast. But anyways, that camera was pretty nice. It actually did video, but it didn't record audio with it. Just video, silent video. But the capacity just, wasn't there. And the quality of that camera was actually pretty nice. But at this point in time, I'm starting to get interested in digital photography now. And the urge to get back into it was building. Oh, excuse me. So I used that camera for a while. And my friend said to me that she was interested, in getting one. And I said, well, okay, let me back up a little bit. Now, I lived in that trailer for 3.5 years. And while I was there, I had my big wagon at that time, my big Parisian wagon. And I got a nice picture of it with the Concorde. Nice picture. And it was a nice car. I liked it. And I got like 3 miles per gallon in the thing. It was crazy. But it was a nice car. It was a comfortable car to drive. I really liked it. I bought it off my mechanic. And in the winter time, when I drive on a dirt road, like a country road or something, it's really hard to see the edges of the road. So I drive down the center of the road, unless there's a car coming the opposite direction. I was heading into work one day, and I'm driving down the road, and there's another car coming towards me, and he's driving down the center of the road too. So as we got closer, I started moving over, and he didn't. And it was a big car. A big car like that has a lot of momentum. It's hard to slow it down quickly. It was good in the snow, but getting that thing to stop was really difficult. So the brakes on, trying to slow down, and I'm sliding, and he's not moving over at all. It left me no choice. I ended up going off the road, bounced off the guardrail, crossed back over the road off into the trees. Well, that was it for that car. So, the car was still technically drivable, but the frame was bent in it, and a whole bunch of other issues that I found out later. But the big thing is the frame was bent. And the police let me drive it home. They gave me an escort, but when I got home, he told me, he says, I don't want to see this car on the road again. So I ended up selling it. Somebody bought it as a field car, and that's what he said anyways. He said it'd make a good bush car, carry your beer out into the bush or whatever. And yeah, I think it would. Lots of space, lots of storage space in it. And if you need to carry people in the back, it's got the seat that folded up as like a third seat, I think. I think that's, I don't actually remember. Something to do with the back seats anyways. Oh no, the back seats folded down to make the storage area bigger. That's what it was. So I was interested in it. I don't remember how much I sold it for. I wasn't asking a lot. Just to get rid of it. Because like I say, it wasn't roadworthy anymore. But the guy that was looking at it, he was just a young guy. And he was asking different things about it, and I told him. And I says, you look at the side, it's rounded, it looks like a boat, because it was bent. It was kind of interesting. But it had leaf springs in the back, and where one end of it was connected, you could see where the frame was ripped. And he asked if that could be fixed. I don't know. I says, be honest. I says, honestly, I don't know. I've been told in the past that it's illegal to fix a frame, or patch a frame or something like that. I can't remember. And I've heard stories of other people that have actually done it, so I don't know if it was done legally or not. So I told him, I said, I don't know. I've heard that you can, I've heard that you can't, so I don't actually know. That's a side-by-side. I want one of those. But he bought it anyways. Like I say, I don't remember how much I paid for it, but he bought it. He drove it home. No plates, no insurance. Just gave me the money and drove away with it. So, he signed the ownership. It's in his name now. That's what he wants to do. Go for it. I don't care. So that was kind of cool. So I was without a car for a little while. Like I said, single person working part-time, or not part-time, minimum wage job. Not a whole lot of options, right? So I found a car for $300. Okay. Let me back up a bit. I lived in Walkerton. I worked in Hanover. I worked at Walmart, which is the far end of Hanover. And now I'm stuck without a way to work.